Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition. We turned out a poem 697, I Could Bring You Jewels Had I a Mind To. You will remember this use of the word jewels when we did 245, poem 245. Do you remember? It read something like this. I held a jewel in my fingers and went to sleep. The day was warm and winds were prosy. I said, 'twill keep. I woke and chid my honest fingers. The gem was gone. And now an amethyst remembrance is all I own. Now, we are back to another Sue poem here. The scholar priest will, in fact, give us some insight here that I think is important. This poem was probably, he says, sent to Sue and accompanied by a meadow flower known as jewel weed. Typically, Emily thinks that this little blaze from an Amherst meadow will be a better gift for Sue than the jewels and perfumes and berries from exotic places which she has already had in abundance. Nothing can match this yellow flower on its emerald green stalk. A better present could not even be found by Bobadillo himself. We'll get to Francisco de Bobadillo in a while. Now, our assumption is that you've been following our stuff at LearnStrong.net. Down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily's our playlist. I'm hopeful that you worked through our set of introductory comments as well as the preceding 696 poems. We just finished with 696, Their Height in Heaven. And if you have, you will know a number of these Sue poems that we are calling them, poems that are sent to Sue. And again, as we've said before, guys, we get to read this stuff, but many of these poems Emily wrote most likely not ever believing that somebody else would read them because they were given to a colleague, or in this case a potential even lover in Sue. Of course, there's all kinds of complications in really understanding the relationship between Emily and Sue, who would go on from being her close pal, if not lover, to marrying her brother Austin and then living adjacent to her. Long periods of time she went without ever seeing Sue again. Let's enjoy the poem. Again, the question for Emily is, what do we really need to be happy? And she'll say it this way. I could bring you jewels, had I a mind to, but you have enough of those. I could bring you odors from Santo Domingo, colors from Veracruz, berries of the Bahamas, have I? But this little blaze flickering to itself in the meadow suits me more than those. Never a fellow matched this topaz and his emerald swing dower itself for Bobadillo better could I bring. So we'll get to Bobadillo in a moment. Of course, the Spanish governor of San Domingo that arrested Columbus and sent him home. Notice she'll say right away, I could bring you jewels. You'll remember jewels as well from 659. And poem number 1, she actually mentions jewels. She said, had I a mind to. Now, this is again kind of her cheeky tone. I could give you a better gift than this jewel weed that I'm giving to you in this letter, but I don't think you need it. I don't think there's anything more important beyond this. You don't need jewels, you just need a jewel weed. But you have enough. Again, we'll go from enough to flickering to itself. You have enough of those. Then she says, I could bring you odors, of course, flowers from Santo Domingo. Of course, we'll get again to Francisco de Bobadillo here in a second. Colors from Veracruz. I could go out, notice all these exotic references that are being made here. I could go get you berries of the Bahamas. And then she'll use the dash, have I. Notice it's had I and then it's have I. But, she says, this little blaze, notice capitalized, flickering to itself, and this is where Emily gets brilliant. Even though this poem wasn't probably written to be shared with us, think about what she's saying. That simplicity is the most powerful representation because it doesn't need anything else sufficient unto itself. Flickering to itself in the meadow suits me more than those. Now, note the irony of this. Emily says, I could give you jewels, but I'm more suited with jewel weed. Well, what if the person she's talking to, namely Sue here, would prefer jewels over jewel weed? You can see the very subtle message that's being sent. You shouldn't care about jewels. You shouldn't care about all that other silly stuff. A simple weed from the meadow, notice capitalized, is enough for me. It should be as well enough for you. Now, is she mentioning indirectly that maybe she identifies with something like a weed from nowhere? In other words, you should be paying more attention to me even though I'm a simple nobody than all of those jewels that are out there, right? then shall say it, more than those. I think this is better than any jewels. Never a fellow matched this topaz and his emerald swing. This is better than any kind of jewels you could get. Dower itself for Bobadillo, better could I bring? I couldn't bring anything better than this. Again, Francisco Belladova is the Spanish governor of Santo Domingo who arrested Columbus and sent him back to Spain. What is the point here at 2a? I think the argument she's making is that sometimes the simple gifts are the best gifts. At 2b, well, I enjoy these exotic place names that we're seeing in this poem. At 3a, the scholar Priest has pointed this out. He says, in Trollope's novel, The Belton Estate, Captain Almayer says scornfully to Clara with reference to a rival, quote, "You like men to swear at you and to swagger like Bobodelos and to misbehave themselves," end quote. Finally, at 3b, by the way, back to 3a, of course, Thoreau's, one of his central theses in Walden, we've given full lectures at learnstrong.net, is simplify, simplify, simplify. Remember, he says simplicity. Get rid of all that superfluous stuff and only, what did he say, the essentials of life that he was looking for. Finally, at 3b, when was a time when you realized, to own a poem like this, when was a time that you realized that the simple is enough? I hope Emily's simplicity is challenging you. Thank you.